In my lifetime, I've built 3 businesses to over 7 figures in under 12 months. Even though Castmagic has been my most recent success, all of these businesses have taken a completely different journey and a completely different path. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how I got my first business up and running, how I grew it, and how I scaled it using literally $0. Yes, $0. It's possible, and I want to show you how. My first business was a swim shorts brand. The reason for that is because I grew up in Puerto Rico, I grew up surfing, and I loved art at the time. And so I figured, how hard can it be to make a swim shorts brand? So off I went and started making swim shorts. But I first faced a really big roadblock, which was I have $0 to spend on ads. How in this world am I gonna get traffic, and how am I gonna get customers and sales? At the time, Instagram was very early. It was like the TikTok days today, but at that time it was Instagram. And so I wanted to build my own distribution. That's what we have to do, build our own distribution. And there were menswear Instagram accounts where I wish they would just shout out and talk about my product. But whenever I would contact these menswear brands, they would have a fee that I couldn't afford. And so I thought, I'm just going to start my own menswear brand, grow it, and then plug in my own swim shorts. And that's exactly what I did. I shifted my entire focus from selling and building and making swim shorts and making an e-commerce page to actually making my own menswear Instagram account. And so that meant that every day I'd be sourcing content, posting content. But the biggest insight into how I grew this account was by manually engaging with other accounts. And that meant that I would go on other menswear accounts. I would go on their followers. I would like every single one of their pictures one by one. I would comment on their photos. I would DM them. I would follow them. And it started working. I started getting followers back. started getting traffic into the account. But it was a very, very time consuming process. I would do this while eating lunch, while eating breakfast, while eating dinner. I did it day in, day out. I would go in my competitors' accounts. I would have notifications on for whenever they would post, and then go and like those people's photos at that exact same point in time, which meant they were online, they would see my notification, and they would either go on my website and buy my swim shorts or follow me or engage with my account. And it worked. I started getting a bunch of followers. And so eventually we got the business to a point where I thought, okay, now it's time to grow it, to actually start getting sales. But again, no money for ads. So I thought, we have a brand presence, somewhat of a brand presence on Instagram. Let's go to retailers. And when I went to retailers, they mentioned, Ramon, your swim shorts are really cool, but how did you grow your Instagram account like this? You have a pretty strong page. You have other big menswear Instagram accounts. And so I kind of told them what I did, but then I went home and I thought, maybe I can do this for them. Maybe this is a service I can sell. And so off I went to do a bunch of research. I didn't even know there was tech to automate this and do this. I barely knew what SaaS was at the time. And I made a list of all the good services out there that did this, all the ones that sold you fake followers instead. And I cut a licensing deal with a software because I thought I could just sell this as a service and use the software on the back end. And that's exactly what I did. I scaled the business with a VA and provided a managed service. At the time, I didn't even know what a managed service was, but a managed service is when you use a software to help accomplish providing a service. In this case, it was growing targeted followers. These businesses don't know how to pick hashtags, who their competitors are, where is their audience. So that's exactly what we did. And so I started getting a few customers who were retailers, but I wanted to grow it bigger than that. I knew I had no limitation in terms of where I could take this. One VA could set up a ton of accounts. So I took a course of SEO from Neil Patel. I was a big fan of Neil Patel at the time, and he had a course for $1,000, which I could not afford, but he had a $1 trial. And so what I did was I put my parents' credit card at the time because I couldn't afford to be charged $1,000. And I joke with my parents right now that thank God I never got charged $1,000 because I took the trial for $1. I took a bunch of notes. I obsessed over everything. Then I canceled the trial right before it expired. But I walked away with one major key insight, and that was the concept of listicles. If you Google Instagram marketing service, best service for X or whatever you want to call it, there will be listicles of reviews reviews of all of these services. And what you want to do is be number one in all of those services. And you can do that by reaching out to the editors in the publications and building relationships with them. And that's exactly what I did. One in particular wanted $2,000 and they were a customer. They just wanted $2,000. It was their business. And we chumped $2,000 together and paid it. It was the biggest risk I had taken at the time. And the business took off from there. It worked. It started growing. It started getting a ton of customers. And I wasn't paying every day for ads. So again, this is totally doable. You just have to find the channels that will continue to feed themselves without you having to reinvest over and over. And the business took off, started getting a ton of customers, but I was living in Puerto Rico at the time. So I didn't have any friends who were developers and I needed developers. So I packed up all of my bags. I researched online. I found an accelerator in Austin called Capital Factory. I moved to Capital Factory very quickly. We were generating $40,000 to $50,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Only $2,000 a month was expensive. So the business was very, very profitable. And looking back, I didn't even know that we were more profitable than every other company in that accelerator. I remember Facebook was visiting Capital Factory at the time, and I had a meeting with them because I wanted to sit down and partner and use their APIs and legitimize myself. But next day, 24 hours later, I get a letter from their lawyers asking me to shut down and close the business in 24 hours. A business that's generating $1 million, shut it down in 24 hours. So that was that, and the business had to get shut down over time. But I was actually very excited that this happened because I had to figure it out. Back against the wall is on the moments that you really, really do your best work. You have to be content in those moments of whatever you accomplish, and now you have to take on a new challenge. So here are my top 3 key lessons from these experiences. Number 1, always build relationships in your industry. It doesn't matter if you have the best product in your vertical, if you think your company's number one, you want to build relationships with other companies, even your own competitors. And there's no trade secret that your competitors can't find out about. There rarely are any of those. Because if your competitors wanted to find out anything, they probably already have. They've signed up to your product. They've asked questions in support. In my case, one company even took one of my employees out for lunch to ask a bunch of questions and find out more about our company. So just do it. Just have relationships with your competitors. The benefits far outweigh any of the risks involved. Number 2, think of your business as an asset other than just something that makes money. And the reason for that is because there are things that increase the value of your business outside of just revenue. It's good to have a really strong reputation. For example, whenever a company is buying another company, they're making a long-term bet. And so they want to know you have a strong team and that you are someone they can count on as a founder. And so they would much rather buy a company from someone that they know, they trust, and they can do reference checks on versus a company that might have slightly more revenue, but they don't know anything about the founder. Invest into your brand's reputation and your reputation as a founder of the company to increase the asset value of your business. Number 3, there are marketplaces for selling businesses now like MicroAcquire or Flippa. In the past, this never existed. You would have had to have a ton of revenue, tons of profits, even get a chance to have a conversation with a PE firm in order to sell it to them. So take advantage of this opportunity and use it to also look at data. See the listings of companies in your own vertical that might have already sold and try to understand what is it that got this business acquired. Reach out to the founders, talk to them, study the listings, study these companies' websites, know what got them acquired so you can now sort of start mapping your journey to create a business that can be acquired at some point. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share this with anyone that you might be looking to start a business with or anyone that can really leverage this advice. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.